Today, let us get back to the basics. We will be learning about healthy eating at different ages. First of all, let us understand nutritional issues at different stages, issues regarding nutritional intake, and if there are any types that can make our diet better, any tips that can make our diet better. Now, let us get to the first question. What are the nutritional issues at different stages? We will be starting from children, which is the stage of babies to children. Basically, we need to often monitor whether a kid's nutrition intake is good. And to do that, we need to look at its growth and development. There are three situations when a kid has abnormal development. The first one is stunted growth. When compared to other same-aged kids, their height and weight might be too short or too low, and they don't reach the average. Another is known as wasting, which is when your muscles are insufficient, and it is a type of wasting, which is your physique is too skinny for your height, too low, and you have like a low weight for height. And with your height, you shouldn't be that light. The last issue is overweight or obese. You will need to pay attention to these three conditions for kids. And as for children's dietary intake, its dietary method is often influenced by their family. For instance, perhaps some kids grow up to be very picky eaters, and this is often because they were not taught properly when they were younger, or maybe they've always been given different choices of foods to pick. And so actually studies found that while moms are pregnant and when babies are born, the way you feed them and the food substances that you give them will affect their future food preferences. And their preferences are determined while the moms are pregnant with their babies. Therefore, if you don't want your kids to be picky, you should start consuming different types of foods, fruits and veggies while you're pregnant. And with that, the baby can actually get in contact with certain food substances from the amniotic fluid. And when the baby grows up, they will be able to be more acceptable towards the food. Of course, when they start eating solid foods, which is when they're 6 months and older, parents should start letting them try various foods. And these foods will also affect their acceptance for fruits and veggies in the future. Then comes the third question. Besides their childhood dietary habits and whether they're picky eaters when they grow older, the third one is that they eat very little. This would affect their nutrient absorption. And when they grow up, family food habit would also affect a child's nutritional intake. For instance, some people might think that when the whole family is chubby, it's probably due to family genes. But are you sure that it's family genes? It might be because everyone enjoys the same food, which leads to a whole family with imbalanced diets. Another thing is some families will allow their kids to watch TV, play on their phones or tablets while they are eating. And this would affect kids' relationship with food and unhealthy relationship. This is something we should pay attention to as it would affect kids' diet and nutritional intake. As for adults, there are two problems. Adults, including adolescents, okay? So the first issue is guys and ladies, they care a lot of their appearance and they will want to fast and diet, right? But their ways of dieting is very extreme, which will lead to malnutrition and insufficient nutritional intake. And not only would your weight loss be unsuccessful, it would also bounce back, affect your health, as well as your immunity. The second one is the opposite, where you think your body is very healthy, so you overeat. And the third issue is adults with busy work lifestyles. They wouldn't have enough time to take care of their diet. And you eat or don't eat at times, and you wouldn't pay much attention whether if you're getting a balanced diet. The fourth one is that adults often have to socialize. When socializing, you can't really choose what you want because you go wherever your friends say to go. And then you also have to go for drinks as well. This would actually affect your nutritional intake. The last one has to do with our daily habits. Maybe due to stress and a packed lifestyle, many would have gastrointestinal problems. Gastrointestinal problems would affect your nutrients absorption and eating, and these would gradually affect the nutrients we ingest in our health. We might have insufficient iron and various types of micronutrients. You might look normal on the outside, but actually you are lacking certain nutrients or minerals. And at times you might even be lacking fats, especially for those with weak digestion. All right, what about older adults? Oftentimes, we will see that older adults tend to be skinny, right? And just as how shown in the picture, skinny limbs, sunken face and eyes. Many might normalize this and think, oh, maybe we get skinnier as we get older, and like what we call as shrinking. We always like to say that elderlies would shrink. Actually, we should not normalize this condition because it is not a normal condition, especially elderlies who are very, very skinny. It is actually because they have sarcopenia. Sarcopenia is when they have low muscle mass, and there will be gradual loss as we age. And with that, we will have poor physical strength and will get tired easily. Standing and walking might even be a problem. All these are abnormal health degeneration. It should not be happening. The second one is the one we mentioned last week, which is cognitive declination. And this also has to do with adults' nutritional intake. Actually, this doesn't just happen during old age, but perhaps there were some things that we didn't do well when we were young, hence affecting our hence leading to cognitive decline. And besides that, as we are already in the old age, elderlies would often have tooth loss. And having no teeth would also affect elderly's food intake. They would avoid many food and hence reducing their nutritional intake. Besides that, their taste and smell might also deteriorate. The desire for food will reduce, food choices reduce, and hence nutritional intake would decrease along with it. Elderlies would often encounter that a problem that elderlies would often encounter is that they're unable to care for themselves. Maybe their memory became weak and they would forget that they have not eaten. And they wouldn't be pursuing to have a balanced nutritional intake as well. So they're no longer able to provide self-care. And many times they rely on their family for that. Thirdly, is that some elderlies might have some medical condition. Oftentimes, they would have certain diseases such as diabetes or liver issues, etc. And at times, many children will want the elders to be healthy, right? But they don't fully understand what they should or should not eat with the condition they're having. And because of that, many would be giving elderlies inaccurate nutritional intake. For certain health conditions, they should not be having foods that we normally consider as good or healthy, as they have different requirements. Basically, what we need to pay attention to is elderly's amount and food they intake and whether they can digest it well. Another thing is whether these food had restricted their nutritional intake, especially for protein. So protein contains micronutrient, vitamins, and minerals that can actually help to prevent having sarcopenia, cognitive declination, or anything that will conflict with their current health, as some medication would also affect their nutrients absorption. After having a better understanding of the common problem, what are the tips to improve their nutritional status? Okay, let us start from children. Usually children's biggest problem is that they're picky, right? If they're picky, we can encourage them to eat various types of food. Children usually likes cute and attractive things. And if you want to improve kids who are picky, you should spend more time. One thing parents can do is to get creative with each of their meals, just like the ones shown in the picture. Parents can surf the net as there are many on the net, and these are not that hard to prepare actually. You just need to make some arrangements with some healthy ingredients and create cute images. This can encourage kids to eat things they don't usually like. A more recommended method for kids to accept new food is by using the one bite rule, which is that we should take at least one bite of everything on the plate. After trying a bite, I wouldn't force you if you don't like it, but you need to let them try a bite each time, because studies found that you need to keep introducing them to new foods and at least try 10 to 15 times in order for them to accept. But many parents would give up after 3 to 4 times and be like, oh, they don't like it. Actually, it's not that they don't like it. It's because you didn't let them try it again. The second method is to secretly sneak in the foods they don't like into their meals. At times like this, blenders are the best. You can blend various veggies into purees or into smaller bites and mix it into meatloaves or patties or into sauces. Of course, you should use fresh ingredients. Don't get those in cans. Get various fresh veggies and fruits and add them in. Eggs are also very nutritious and can be easily added into food. For instance, in their porridge or add a layer of egg wash to their rice. This adds in many protein and vitamins. The third method is to let them pick. Let's say they don't like to eat veggies, but nevertheless, you need to prepare. So you prepare 2 dishes for them. And yes, you need to bargain and discuss with them and say, it's not that I'm not giving you a choice. I'm giving you choices. But so if you don't like the one on the left, you can eat the one on the right. Actually, kids will listen and they will be able to understand. So this is a great way to let them have more acceptance. Don't make eating as if it was a battle. You don't need to yell at them, but communicate with them instead and prepare these adorable meals with them and give them choices to pick. Then what about obese children? Actually, kids cannot diet, okay? Just want to put it out there that kids cannot diet. You can restrict them. You cannot restrict them or limit them too much. But in terms of food choices, I believe everyone already knows, which is to switch the foods and high fat, sugar, and calories with more nutritious and balanced foods. You should make them develop this habit when they're young. And don't use junk food and fast food as rewards, as this is very unhealthy and it will create an unhealthy connection between kids and food. As for adults, it's simple. We just need to have a balanced diet. I believe everyone knows what a balanced diet is, right? You need to have protein, carbs, which is our rice, bread, noodles, etc. And most of your diet should consist of veggies and fruits. Veggies should take up half of your plate with 1 serving of fruits. Around 2 servings of fruits per day is just right. But today, I'm not going to teach you how to have a balanced nutritional intake or how to pair them up. Let's look at this realistic meal dishes, and do some practical activities. Okay, most people would think that balanced diet is to have healthy foods. Healthy foods is the one on the right. Do you really have to eat these? Do you have to eat salad in order to be healthy? Or do you really need to have a fish bowl and add some classy foods into it? Or is it that you have to have chicken breast and veggie and eat super bland in order to consider it as a balanced diet? Let me tell you, salads are not well balanced at all. You wouldn't last long too if you have to eat like this every day. And the main thing is that adults might intake excessive calories and have insufficient vitamins and minerals. So most importantly, we just need to control the amount we eat. As for the food combination, you can also enjoy eating. You don't need to eat as how shown in the picture. They look like these standard healthy meals, but you don't need to follow it exactly. Let us look at the next picture. Nasi lemak. Huh? Is this dish balanced? From the looks of it, it actually meets the requirement. It has protein because of eggs, it has carbs because of rice, and they have nuts, which are very healthy protein and fats. Then there's cucumbers, which are veggies. Actually, it's not a well-balanced diet, but it is almost there. Why do we say that it's not there yet? It's because the veggies only consist of 3 cucumbers, which does not make up to 1 serving. 1 serving of cooked veggies should be half a coffee cup. For raw veggies, there should be 1 coffee cup. So some adjustments can be made here, which is to add a bit more veggies. And don't forget that the rice also contains coconut milk, and its chili also contains a lot of oil. For foods like this, I recommend eating just once a week, but overall, it's quite balanced. Let's look at the second picture, economic rice. If you want a balanced diet, economic rice is great, as rice with veggies is always the simplest. You don't necessarily need to eat chicken breast with potatoes. Okay, so do you think this dish is healthy? Actually, we can make some adjustments. As for the rice amount, I think it's okay if it's for a guy or for a taller person. Its veggies is also achieved 1 to 2 servings, but the protein on the side is a bit of an issue. First off, it uses fried eggs, and then on the sides, they look like deep fried chicken. The ones dipped in flour and deep fried, those are considered foods high in fats. So its seasoning might also be quite salty or sweet. And 1 fried egg is unconsciously over 100 calories already, as it absorbs many oil. And when you coat the meat with a layer of dough, the dough also contains calories. And the dough also absorbs oil. Unconsciously, you had added 200 to 300 calories into your meal, which is very not worth it. To make some adjustments, you can opt for steamed egg or boiled eggs, and try to cut down on fried or deep fried. As for meat, you can choose the ones that are not coated in dough and deep fried. Stir-fry meat are fine too. Okay, what about this third picture? Any problem with it? They have quite some veggies, and its meat is kind of fried, and some of the meat on top is covered in flour too. So some adjustments should be made for these as well. Another thing is that it is drenched in curry sauce, which causes 2 concerns. 1, which is too high in sodium, because some curry dishes uses coconut milk as well. So if you pour the sauce over your rice, the saturated fat intake would be too high. It's not that you cannot add sauces. You can, but reduce it by a little. And as for the meat, find the ones that that's not fried or coated with flour. Now, what about the next one? It has tofu, might be Japanese tofu, and then there's eggs, a veggie, and appropriate amount of rice. This one is qualified. It's pretty good actually. If you are trying to lose weight or slim down, this is good, as there's enough protein so you don't need to worry. And lastly, sandwich and burgers aren't all in balance. Look at the sandwich. If you zoom in, you can see that it has different types of veggies, and there's bread, which meets the requirement. And as for burgers, many would think that it's fast foods, but it's another matter if you make the burger yourself. It depends on what you put in there. If you add more veggies and you make the meat patty yourself, it's considered well balanced. So just put more veggies or have a side of salad to make them balanced. As for elderlies, we mentioned that their chewing ability might be a concern. So pick soft foods like porridge, noodle soup, or stew. As they don't eat as much, they need foods higher in calories and nutrition. So you can add protein in your porridge, like shredded chicken, eggs, and you can even add some spirulina powder. Another tip is that you can add in some healthy oil. Good oil, good fats, not the fried oil you get from the outside, okay? You can get some healthy plant oil like olive oil, grapeseed oil, drizzle them after you're done cooking. Don't use it for cooking though, because they need more calories, and giving them good oil will help with your joints, eyes, and brain. It is also best to have small frequent meals and to prepare them with some snacks. Snacks I personally think is healthy is tau fu fa, which is some sort of soybean curd, and it contains calcium and protein. So you can also make some pudding and add some healthy milk powder into it. You can also add milk, yogurt, and tofu. All these are foods that can be easily added into foods. And tofu are soft, so you can add them into porridge or make them into puddings, etc. Or make them into smoothies and even add some ice cream as they are high in calories. The ones I suggested are those who don't eat enough. But if they have good appetite, you don't need to add ice cream, okay? You can also give them some smooth peanut butter as they also contain a lot of protein and good fats. Blender is very useful for elderlies as you can blend any foods that they cannot chew. Now let us take a look. Earlier, we mentioned that we can add some supplements into foods as supplementation, right? How does spirulina supplementation help to achieve a better diet? First off, why do we pick spirulina? It's because spirulina contains 60 different types of nutrients, all the ones that you need, which consist of 20 types of minerals, 18 types of vitamins, and 18 types of plant protein. So vegetarians can also consume this. It also contains some carbs and healthy fats. Then you might ask, they're just spirulina, a type of algae. Is it really that nutritious? Okay, let me share some studies to prove that they do have its effects. Most case studies are conducted in poorer countries, as the people there are more likely to have imbalanced diets. Now, let us take a look. What happens when these children in Congo consume 10 grams of spirulina every day? After a month, they notice that kids who are undernourished, which means that after kids who are malnourished consume it for a month, their red blood cells and total protein significantly increased. And those children who have severe iron deficiency, and actually their severe anemia decreased from 20% to 6% because many of their red blood cells increased. And acute malnutrition also went from 30% to 20%. Many children in African countries have fairly larger bellies, and this is because of edema. And when your body lacks protein, you will get edema easily. So the edema problem also went from 64% to 4%. And from here, we can noticeably see that spirulina is truly nutritious, as it has the ability to let undernourished children to be in a healthier body state. Previously, I've shared about a study on pregnancy, right? Which was also taking place in the poorer African countries. They allow pregnant moms to undergo the study, and they realized that those who replenish on spirulina have an increase in red blood cells and a decrease in anemia. This study also further supports that indeed spirulina has components that can improve our body's nutritional intake, our body's development, and to maintain healthy body functions. And for that, children, adults, and elderly can all consume spirulina. ELKEN has two types, right? One is tablet form and the other is in powder form. If you can swallow, then consume the tablet one. They're also chewable, so you can give them to children as a snack to chew on. And for those who can't, you can use spirulina powder. Many might not know how to use spirulina powder and think it's troublesome. Here are some suggestions for everyone, especially children and elderly, as they might be more inconvenient to chew. So what can they add them into? First, you can add them in juices such as lemonade or orange juice, and it adds in a lot of extra nutrients. You can also make them into pudding. And for the pudding, you can soak chia seeds in milk and add the spirulina powder, and maybe add some yogurt, sprinkle some nuts that you like. Or perhaps elderlies aren't as suitable to chew on nuts. You can also pound them into powder and add the nut powder into it. The third one is to make egg salad. Chop eggs, add a bit of mayonnaise, and add in some spirulina powder. You can also put them in sauces, like when you're cooking spaghetti, blend whatever ingredients you need and add them in spirulina powder. It also works for smoothies, stew, soup, or porridge. And you can even just sprinkle it on white rice as well. Or perhaps when elderlies are eating stir-fry noodles and soup noodles, you can all add them in. Now, let us have a look. What difference does it make after adding spirulina? For a bowl of white porridge, it contains around 2 to 4 grams of protein. Of course, we wouldn't want to eat just plain porridge, right? For convenient and have weak digestion, you can add an egg. After adding an egg, you can also add some minced meat, and even better, you can add in some spirulina powder. With this combination, you went from 2 to 4 grams of protein to 22 grams of protein. And you have 18 types of vitamins, 20 types of minerals, and etc. It is so simple to let those with no appetite to get the various nutrition they need. And it is that simple. Okay, it is that simple. So ELKEN's product is different from others. First off, it has been ranked number 1 spirulina in Malaysia for 10 consecutive years. And so it is a trusted brand. It has also been endorsed by scientists in Japan. In this process, the scientists had also conducted many studies using ELKEN spirulina. We can further discuss on this in the future. And here we're mainly talking about balancing our diet. Studies found that the protein, beta-carotene, vitamin E, and other minerals in ELKEN spirulina is higher than other spirulina brands. Some antioxidant components are even 3 times higher than other brands. So they do have their differences. Our spirulina is also organic certified and had gotten numerous local and international accolades. This is why it was ranked number 1 for 10 years consecutively, as it is unique in its own way. All right, this is it for my sharing. Hope that through my sharing today, everyone, especially those who needs it more, can understand more about it, and even help friends of yours at different age groups. All right, stay healthy and have a balanced diet, everyone. Bye-bye.